able to survive this.
I think we need to forgive. How to forgive Tyra. Because what we see doesn't match what she sees. That is tough. That is nefarious. She's gonna grow in denial, in tricks, and in copes. I will eat my ice cream cold. I won't be watching America's Next Top Model the next season. You don't need to plug it.
But now it's time.
On the back of my How to Forgive Jill's video, I tried to apply the same logic to this Tyra Banks situation. It's really not good and it's really difficult. We all saw the Netflix documentary and we all saw Tyra not taking accountability. The biggest lesson here is that this is how the world works. You can't expect people around you that hurt you to take accountability. So you have to get your piece some other way. Most of the times, to be angry, to go for revenge, is not as satisfying as you might think. Now, for people to be angry at Tyra Banks, that means Tyra Banks at one point was liked. That means Tyra Banks at one point was admired. That means at one point, Tyra Banks had something good to give. So what was that? Why is there so many people disappointed with Tyra Banks? Well, Tyra Banks, we all saw it in the documentary. Tyra Banks brought diversity. Miss J was something that I personally, because I saw it since season 1 back in the day, never seen before. And probably Mr. J, I don't know if I've seen a character like that before. It feels like at one point there were good intentions. Tyra has that thing where she speaks and there's a wall, right? You know she's not with you. You know there's a separation. You know there's a ruthlessness to her. Good intentions. If she wanted diversity of bodies, diversity of color, diversity of race, and diversity of beauty, even good intentions can be corrupted. But the very thing that Tyra gave to the world, not to those girls, but to the world, was not only that modeling was a profession, but that beauty was finally attainable. Beauty was something that was technical. Not only a question of hair, of makeup, of styling, but also of posing.
With pain. It's the biggest modeling secret trick tip that you can get. When you're stuck and you don't know what to do, Mr. J is yelling at you, go, my ear hurts.
And I don't see enough people talking about this, but the best parts of Top Model were when Tyra was teaching them. There was something that would come through on Tyra. That is when Tyra shines the most, is when she's teaching the technicalities of being a model, of posing, of walking.
Like, okay, and now I'm not smiling with my eyes right now. I'm just going. And now I'm about to smile with my eyes.
And I don't think we speak enough about this. And I don't think they had the notion that that was the magical part on Top Model. It wasn't so much, at least for me, maybe I'm wrong, I didn't care so much that people are posing with a tarantula in their head. I care that they took those teachings and then that it worked. Our favorite bit, as I remember, and I might be naive, was to see the final picture, the knowledge applied. And of course, over the years, all of that kind of decayed into this spectacle and it was no longer fun. Tyra, for better or worse, was mother to many. Mother in beauty, mother in modeling, mother in profession, mother in finding yourself. One of the many mother figures of media. Tyra was mother. Many of the people who are now complaining is because they've been severely disappointed by a mother figure. She was teaching not only about the world of modeling, but how the world works, how difficult the world is, how to navigate it, not only to those girls that participated who were abused, but to the girls on this side and all the gays on this side too. At that time, we needed a mother figure. Now, we need adults in the room. Tyra can't help us with that. I remember those times. I remember watching those seasons. I remember thinking, actually, I remember not thinking about those girls. I remember thinking them almost as these caricatures. I remember I was looking at a world that I didn't know, the world that had its own rules. I didn't know how to analyze that into abuse. I didn't have that language. I didn't understand what was manipulation. I don't think I cared. I only cared to see how things turned out. I feel like I was looking at a parallel universe where I was being given the rules of that world, just like a movie. I think they got away with everything because at the time, because we looked at TV like we looked at a movie. It's something that is happening. And those girls were models. They were not real people. Times have changed. And only during the pandemic, as we start looking at it, I started looking at it with our friend Luxaria, who's also in the documentary. Then I started seeing, how did I watched all of this before and I never seen it? I've watched it, but I haven't seen it. Whatever this magic is, and whatever my responsibility here is in perpetuating those stereotypes, I probably did it. Times were different, and I wasn't as aware as I am today. Hopefully, in 20 years, I will be more aware than I am today. Something that makes me happy about looking at a show and seeing how dated it is because it means we evolved. One thing is for sure, after seeing this documentary, I don't think that the times being different is an excuse for everything. Let's talk about Shandi. What do we do with Tyra's reaction to Shandi? It's really heartbreaking, just the dismissiveness of it all.
I do remember her story. It's a little difficult for me to talk about production because that's not my territory.
Of course, people want an apology, people want some sort of contrition, but to just brush it off to someone else is so heartbreaking. Then to have that with side by side with the story of Shandi is even more heartbreaking. To know that a sexual assault was filmed and everything was like a documentary. It just shows how dehumanizing it was, how we didn't look at at each other as people, not really, how we were more alone, that everybody was looking out for themselves. And you see in this documentary, Tyra would have her own problems, the Jays would have their own conflicts, Nigel would have his own conflicts, the girls. Everybody was alone in a position. Everybody was alone in that system. If you're alone, scared and isolated, how can you look at the next person and see their problem? You can't. For me, Shandi is the most heartbreaking one. All of it, from filming to filming the phone call, heartless. And no accountability, of course, and the internet's been talking about it. There's no accountability. It's just this girl now left with that to deal. Tyra not only haven't taken any accountability, she did that show of hers where she showed Shandi the same images. And then she, on the back end of that, would play I'm Not Judging You. That is tough. That is nefarious. I remember seeing Shandi back in the day, and I don't know what crossed my mind. I don't think I've judged her. I don't think I was like, oh, she cheated. But I don't think I took in any of what those images meant. And we didn't know about the essay, but I don't think I took it in how humiliating and utterly exposing all of that was. What we see in this documentary is not just the lack of accountability from Tyra. What we see is that Tyra refuses, can't look at herself. Not really. She does talk about that time she yelled at Tiffany. She does talk about the time where the gap tooth thing happened. She does talk about the time that she did put those girls in blackface. She only speaks of those things that are bad results with good intentions. She only speaks of the things that keep adding to her quirky personality. She's not willing to go to the darker side, to expose her own greed, to expose her own ambition, to tell that she got blinded by her ambition so much that she abused and used a bunch of these girls. The problem with Tyra is that she's not willing to deal with her shadow. But as Mother, we always expect Mother to know all. We always expect Mother to know everything, to have access to everything, be some sort of perfection. But perfection, Tyra can't be. She can only apologize for the mistakes she did with good intentions. That's not enough. So now what do we do? How to forgive Tyra? Because what we see doesn't match what she sees. She's now a lady out of touch. She's been acting weird. There's that ice cream and the Santa Smiles thing. It's all a little bit, she was always Cookie, but this is now out of touch Cookie. It's like a little bit sad to watch. There is no biggest disappointment than when Mother betrays you. So if you can't talk with your family member, if you can't tell them how it is because they won't listen, what do you do? Because forgiveness in this case is just to let go, right? It doesn't mean that we can't appreciate all the good that Tyra did, because there is a lot of good. The bad that Tyra did is very much her cross to bear, and it shouldn't be mine. And of course, I'm not talking about those girls. Those girls have so much to deal with from that show to this day. Us who are on this side, who are affected, I think we need to forgive. Forgive doesn't mean forget, doesn't mean consume her things, doesn't mean buy their ice cream. It just means to have some peace of mind that this person has left the train and stopped evolving. And you need to accept, radically accept, that Tyra is no longer with us. Tyra is now on a journey to her dark side. She's going to grow in denial, in tricks, and in copes. To forgive Tyra is to let go of Tyra. To forgive Tyra is to let ourselves go, is to forgive ourselves to that got attached to those bad teachings, is to forgive ourselves for listening to a society that told you were ugly and not good enough. Is to forgive yourself to have listened. Is to forgive yourself for judging the people by those same standards. Is for all of us that were involved and mean to each other in the process. To forgive yourself that put those judges on a pedestal, that program on a pedestal, and the modeling industry on a pedestal. Somehow, at the end of the day, forgiving Tyra is forgiving ourselves for the world where we came from, where we grew up, and to know that probably there is even more dark stuff we can't see right now inside of us. And as a collective, now for the collective, we can forgive Tyra once these girls forgive her. And I do mean Whitney, and Danny, and Giselle, and Shandi, and Kenya, and Ebony, and the many other ones that decided not to participate. Good luck, girls. Tyra, I forgive you, not for the collective, individually, but your services are no longer needed. I will eat my ice cream cold. I won't be watching America's Next Top Model the next season. You don't need to plug it. Thank you for your service. But now it's time to have adults in the room. If you ever change your mind, I might be here. Thank you very much.